right. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We are doing a RVP Elections 2026 panel webinar. If you don't know me, you will in a minute. And I will also have my guest here introduce themselves. But before we get to any sort of introductions, kind of let you know what we're doing and what you're listening to or watching here. So we have this panel set up in case folks are interested in running for an elected position within SHPE. We're going to be answering questions. We're going to have previous and current RVPs answer questions around how they got involved, why they're involved, what their day-to-day / month-to-month looks like, and we'll be covering everything in between. But to get us going with introductions, my name is William Gonzalez. For those of you who don't know me, I am from Region 7, currently living in Tampa, Florida. Have been involved with SHPE since 2012 when I was a freshman at the University of South Florida. Studied industrial engineering, and since then to now, I have done all the roles in the chapter at the student level, engaged at the professional level with professional chapters in Houston, and now back in Tampa, and have also been RVP for Region 7. It feels like I've been here for a long time, especially now that I tell people I've been here for more than a decade. But I will go and pass it to Cindy. Cindy, if you don't mind doing an intro for everyone.
Sure. So my name is Cindy Sanchez. I am currently in Houston, Texas. I was born and raised here. I also went to university here at the University of Houston. And so that's when I started my SHPE journey, if you will, in 2011. And I was also very active with the SHPE chapter. I became chapter president. And then after graduation, I was also very active with SHPE Houston. Eventually, I also ran for RVP. And so I was RVP for Region 5 in 2023 till 25 last year. So that's me.
Awesome. Yesenia?
Perfect. Hi, everyone. My name is Yesenia Avellaneda. I'm the RVP for Region 6. I'm based in Minneapolis in the Midwest. I work for Avid. My SHPE history starts from undergrad. In undergrad, I switched majors. I went from like a pre-med bio major to more engineering. So I was not 100% involved as much as I wanted. But once I got into grad school, I got involved within different roles in grad school. And then as a professional, I was the professional Twin Cities president in Minneapolis, and then ran for the RVP position. So I've been involved with SHPE for almost, could say, 5 years.
I like it. I have not been a chapter president for any professional chapter. Selena?
Hi, everyone. Happy to be here. My name is Selena Torres. I'm the current RVP for Region 5. My SHPE journey actually started as a high school student. So I've been part of SHPE Junior. I've been part of the collegiate chapters and the professional chapters. So as a professional, I was a SHPE DFW president. Got to meet amazing people from all over Region 5 and joined Cindy's team. And then from there, became RVP. So it's been amazing. I work as a senior director at Zealous, and that's a healthcare tech company. So I like to just migrate the skills that I have in my workplace into SHPE and vice versa. So it's been a really great experience.
I'm kind of jealous that you started in SHPE Junior. I did not get to do that. So congrats on that. And then I'm going to have Francisco round this out with his intro.
Awesome. I'm also jealous about SHPE Junior. I wish I could tell people that I started there, but not unfortunately. I did start my SHPE Junior, there we go, SHPE journey back in undergrad. So I went to Clemson University, and that's when I was first introduced to SHPE. However, I guess fun fact, I didn't really have any roles during undergrad up until like the regional team. So it's kind of a full circle moment. I started off as a vice RSR, and then stepping into a Region 7 student representative role. Unfortunately, that was during COVID, so I only really got to see half the term. And then I moved to Atlanta, Georgia, where I helped grow the professional chapter. Led that as the president for about 3 years, 5 years unofficially. And then right after Will stepped into the Region 7 vice president. role. So it's been pretty awesome journey. For my day job, I tell people that's actually my side hobby, my real-time job, the one that pays the bills. I work for a company called Burns& McDonnell, serving as a electrical engineer, and actually just stepped into a new role there at the start of this year as a assistant department manager. So got people to manage, and they're awesome.
Nice. Well, it sounds like we got a lot of leadership experience here. I guess I'm gonna count me and Cindy as 5 RVPs on the call, so tons of experience. The way this is going to work is that I'm gonna put out some questions. We'll have a few folks answer, and if there's any follow-up questions, we'll add those in there. And this whole intention is to get you guys knowledge from us and experience on RVP roles and elected roles for SHPE National in general. So I'm going to put this one out there first, and whoever wants to come in and answer, feel free to jump off mute. Why did you decide to run for an elected position? So whoever wants to go in, I just heard all of you talk about RVP roles.
I can take this one. I can start. So yeah, I decided to run because I do believe in creating access and representation in like leadership roles. At least me, growing up Hispanic and coming from Peru at the age of 12, I didn't see a lot of people like in leadership positions, growing up specifically. And I wanted to bring that into the table. SHPE played a pivotal role in my life. I think I've told this to everyone. I was hired as SHPE in the 2021 convention in Orlando. So, I had applied so many roles coming from grad school because I didn't have that many internships because I switched careers anyways. But like, I got a job and I got 4 offers from different companies. And to me, that was just like, wow, I cannot believe it. I don't know. SHPE just means a lot, so I wanted to give back to my community, back to the students, back to SHPE, and I decided to just get more immersed in leadership roles. And being RVP has given me that opportunity, not just to grow as a leader and make connections, but mainly to empower students, professionals. I want to make sure they feel supported, seen, empowered to dream bigger and to understand that they can be leaders and they can take space.
I love it because mentorship was a big part of my journey. So that's awesome. Anyone else? Cisco, I saw you come off mute, so I'm going to pick on you.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick back on you. The reason I ran for RVP is because William wouldn't stop bugging me about it. We're in the same. I'm just kidding. No, there was a couple reasons I would say. I know earlier I mentioned being the Region 7 student representative back in like 2020 almost. Geez, I forgot to mention it's been about 10 years now, so I'm getting old. But there was always a want, a need to come back to the regional team. When I was an undergrad and I got a little bit of that taste of helping support the chapters, I knew that I needed to continue that. And I guess at that time, again, COVID, the whole world pretty much shut down, it slowed down. I wanted to take all of that energy and put it towards a local professional chapter. At the time, the chapter didn't have too much going on there in Atlanta. But after working with several professionals, working with the current RVPs in our region, and of course William there here just more recently, I felt like it was almost the responsible thing to do. The chapter was growing, it was thriving, it was excelling, and I felt that I could stay, take a step away and kind of come back to the regional team. There's a lot of good that you can do in this position. And that was the first time I had really been involved with the professional chapter and seeing how successful it became. I knew that I needed to take that to the regional scale and introduce those new skills that I've, kind of built over the last couple of years with just passing it on to that next generation at the student levels and the professional level too.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Cisco. Go
I
ahead.
was just going to quickly add that very similar journey being on the regional team. I think I just loved being able to have as much outreach and impact as we did, because you're not just impacting one chapter, you're impacting all of them. And being on Cindy's team, just having that experience, I really enjoyed it, but I was also very scared. And I know this is probably like, jumping in ahead, but I had a lot of reservations, but because of Cindy's support and just all the questions she answered for me really helped me feel ready for the next step in my leadership, which is interesting because at work I'm never scared of anything. Like I'm on to the next role, on to the next promotion. But I guess with SHPE, I just feel so much like I care about it a lot. So I want to make sure that I'm going to be doing a good job at it. So yeah, just I wanted to make sure just to have the impact across more regions and expand all the good that we can do.
I like how you spoke so nicely of Cindy, and Cisco immediately did not speak nicely of me, but that's okay. Um, anyways, you kind of touched on something I was going to hit on. So if we're talking about folks going into RVP roles or National Board of Director roles or any leadership roles really that are elected, some of us, or not some of us, myself included, have hesitations, we're concerned. I think you used the word scared. Did any of you have any hesitations prior to taking on the role? And you want to share with us kind of your experience? Did you go to a mentor? Did you go to someone at work? How did you decide or overcome that hesitation and say, I want to know what this is the right time and the right role for me to take on? Cindy, I saw you come off mute.
Yeah, so I always knew from the very beginning that I eventually wanted to run for RVP and be in that position. It was just a matter of when. My only hesitation was time commitment because I know I'm the type of leader that goes all in or nothing at all. So I knew that going into this 2-year commitment, I would have to sacrifice some of that time where I usually would, either be at the gym or trying new hobbies or just, watching like endless hours of anime. I would have to make sacrifices, right? Because this is something that I really wanted to do. So that was my hesitation. So what I did, I talked to the previous RVP. So that was Francis back in 2021 till 23. And Francis gave me a quick rundown. She's like, hey, I'm not going to kid around. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. If you want, it really depends what you want it to be or want it to look like. But if you want to do it well and be able to make the impact that I told her that I wanted to make as RVP, then it is going to take a lot of time. And so I kind of tried to set up my systems coming in the first year and said, okay, well, let me try dedicating 30 minutes every day to, checking emails, making sure I get, maybe reimbursements done or, whatever else administrative tasks that I need to get done. Well, that didn't work for, X amount of time. Okay, well, let's shift. Let's talk to the rest of my regional team. What do you guys think we should do? How should we manage it? So not only did I reach out to my the person that was in the role previously, but also my team at the time. I asked them, what do you guys think? Everybody has a different experience managing their time, managing responsibilities, managing people. And so I was very receptive to hearing people's thoughts and try to craft a way that we could all work together to impact all the goals and objectives that we had set for that year.
I like it. Anyone else want to chime in on any doubts or hesitation? It looks like Cindy took a very team-centered approach. Maybe that's why Cisco doesn't talk nicely about me and Selena talks nicely about Cindy.
I was about to go in and talk about how much time you spent working with me in the onboarding, couple months, but Sydney hit it hard. I think for me, it was just the time commitment. I was leading an entire chapter. I felt like, we were having our best year yet. You hear that in corporate America a lot. I was kind of like telling that to my whole board. But there was a lot of hesitation. Do I want to step away? Is this something that I'm ready to jump into? But of course, William, you were there to help support, guide, and onboard, and you're still there. And I very much appreciate it. And for anyone else in the RVP roles, I'm sure they've got someone they can look up to. So,
all right. Anyone else?
Yeah, I'll just add this with my hesitations. I'm a mom, so obviously that takes some time. Wave. You don't want to wave now? But what I've learned, I mean, it's been many years now, ever since I think he was 4, that he's come with me to SHPE events. So he's been to Lone Star multiple times. He's been to National Convention, actually. So I think I just I was definitely had a lot of hesitation, but after talking with so many people, I was just like, well, I've already been bringing him along to these events, and he definitely, Anthony, is his name. He definitely has an engineering mindset already. Like I already know he's going to be something in STEM. So now it's just, Francisco, you're talking about exposure. He's having exposure at the age of 4, to SHEP. So I think I took it upon that of now it's a benefit to him. Of course, like there's sometimes like now, right, like we're doing this instead of like playing a game or something, but he's working on his homework. So, there's still things that we try to balance out. And I think I just try to focus on giving him more focus time after a meeting like this. So
I love it. I had no idea that was going to happen. So for anyone who doesn't know, this is not scripted or planned. So this is all new information to me. Tell Anthony we said hello. And if he needs help with math, I'll send him Cisco or Cindy because they're much better than me. Oh. All right. Sorry. All right. So you guys talked a little bit about time commitments. We just talked about family. We talked about talking to your team, any hesitations that you guys had. And now each of these regions, different sizes. I think we have experience here from 5, 6, and 7. And each of those regions definitely has over 1,500, 2,000, 3,000 plus members on some of those. How are you guys handling supporting so many members? How do you decide what's important or what to do? So any thoughts on that? And I know it's take it where you will, the question, and we can just kind of cut it piece by piece.
Yeah, I can start. I mean, it can be a lot. You guys know this. It depends on like what events you want to do. It depends on how you want to be, like as an RVP, what you're planning to do, right? I have heard, you can do like 2 events through the whole year. You can do many more, like I've done. But I do think the biggest feedback that I have is focus on building a strong systems, right? And empowering others. I'll be honest, at the beginning of my first year, I was trying to manage everything with my R's, like my, like RSR, RGR, and RJR. But then I learned that I needed to build a bigger team, having directors. So now I have like 6 directors besides the R's. I have committees. So I don't try to do everything myself. I prioritize collaboration. I delegate, intentionally. I trust my board. I think that has to be the biggest thing, trusting that everyone is going to do their job, making sure I have the one-on-ones. I see it as being, like more than a manager, a leader, right? Showing up and being there with them. I do think the biggest thing would be just making sure you have a strong team and building that trust within the team. And that can help you, manage with so many members. Because like the RSR is responsible for the students, like the RGR for the juniors. So like as long as they have my support, my trust, and I'm able to follow up with them and give them all the tools for them to be great leaders, we are able to like get to almost the whole region, right? So I think that would be, I think that would be my biggest advice.
And before anyone else jumps in, I know you mentioned you have a team, and it sounds like you have the R's, and now you have 6 additional directors. Was it easy to find those 6 additional folks to volunteer? Were people excited to volunteer? What did that look like? It sounds like you have 10 people ready to help you out.
No, I do think there's a lot of people that want to be involved in the community. I think it's just posting things like networking with them at all the events. I actually had people come up to me and be like, how can I be involved with the region? Like, at least for me, it was not hard to find I guess like members that wanted to be in those positions. I don't know if it was luck, but I don't think it's luck. I think it's in every region. I do think us, like the community, wants to give back more than ever. With everything going on today, I do think there is people that are going to step up and take those roles. Just make sure you market it, make sure you tell them of the opportunities, and they come. So I'm telling you, I have an amazing team. William, you had the conversation with one of them today. We met early. So yeah, no, I have like the smartest team. I'm not even saying that. I think I have like the greatest team ever. Everything is going smooth. So no, I do think there is talent out there.
I like it.
Yeah, I was just gonna chime in after that. You talked about like, sometimes people coming up to you. Those are the best people. I think my team right now is composed of people who did that same thing. They reached out to me before like elections were even announced. They're like, "Hey, we know you're running. If you win, would you consider me joining your team?" Those are the best people. You deal with them not only at like the regional level, but like at the chapter level too. And just to kind of piggyback off of like the system, anybody who knows me or has ever worked with me knows that like I love structure. I like document control. I like making sure that everything that we do now is passed on to like that next board, so that that way they can come into a system that works, or they don't have to necessarily come in and reinvent the wheel. I'll say that like depending on what region you come in, of course everyone's got like their system, but we all have our like creative freedom to do however we please. Well, I know you and I were talking about this during onboarding. Is like, you want to have a small team? Do you want to have a large team? So some regions might have directors. I myself have a team of 7, including the ones who get elected into these positions. But yeah, to your point earlier, Yesenia, like I think delegation is important. I think a lot of times we get so focused on leading chapters, and you want to be able to help every single one of your members. But that's I think a key thing to keep in mind is you can't help everybody individually at the regional level. You got to really focus on building your system, building those people around you who are going to help you on like a week to week basis, and then really leaning on your chapter presidents, giving them those resources. Again, we're elected to these roles because like the people who voted on us or elected us into these roles, they trust us because of our ship experience. And that's the experience we got to be able to pass down to those next line of presidents.
Fully agree that I think there's a lot more strategy to this role than being a chapter president in an individual chapter, for example. So 100%. Cindy, I saw you came off mute. Do you have anything to add on this one?
Yeah, I think I also echo the systems. It's very important. I think also with that, you prioritizing your goals is very important. I think it's very important to know, and I think Francisco also like mentioned this, you can't help every single person in your region directly. That's just, if that is your intention, you're easily going to get overwhelmed. So what I did is, for personally for the RVP role, I said like 2 or 3 priorities. I know for me, a priority when I was RVP, it was like, okay, we need to make sure that the SHPE events get kicked off and we have a SHPE conference in person. That is a number 1 priority. We also try to focus on making sure that we had some kind of structure or committee to ensure if people wanted to create new chapters or wanted to revive their chapter. That was very important for us to set that up for Region 5. And I think if you just kind of focus on those things, or, you lay out your groundwork, and again, this is where the systems come in, right? You, in your systems, whatever that looks like or whatever that may be, you lay out the steps in order to get, achieve that goal. Then, that's kind of how I managed it. And I feel like I was very successful in the 2 years that I was in. So that's how I tried to make sure that I didn't feel too overwhelmed, and still achieved everything that I set out to achieve for each year.
And really quick, I'm just going to highlight this. So you had mentioned setting your goals and your systems. I think the beauty of these elected roles, and this is kind of the pro and the con. The pro is you get to set up your own priorities, your own systems, and you build that with your team. The con is that there's no set line of this is what an RVP shall do. So it is very much create your own journey. So you get to put into it what you're going to get out of it, et cetera, and you kind of tailor it to your team, yourself, and what kind of impact do you guys want to make. But with that, I kind of want to follow up, and you were already touching a little bit of this, Cindy. What does the time commitment look like? And if you guys can just, talk about what the busy time is and what the not so busy time is, and what are the activities work? How does that impact your life, work, school? Like, I know I did all of this and I was able to manage, but there's other things that I had to put down for those 2 years. So I don't know if anyone wants to jump. Elena.
Yeah, I'll say, I mean, convention, of course, is always going to be busy time. And then I think right now, because we're kicking off all of our spring events, setting the committees up and things like that, that's going to be the busiest time. But I think once everything's set up, like we have the committees going, everyone kind of has their marching orders, then I think it's more of just like monitoring, outlining risks, things like that, addressing the things as they go. In between the huge events, it kind of comes in waves, I'll say. And I think what's helped me and what I've been trying to do is just like spend time, a little bit of time, either every day or every other day, just like hitting those onesie twosie questions. So I don't have like a full backlog of things that I have to address. But it does also come back to prioritizing, right? Because you're not going to be able to get to every single thing. If not, this will be your next full-time job. It can easily turn into that. So I think it's just prioritizing and then just managing things so it doesn't get too control.
Fully agree. Anyone else want to talk about their experience?
Um,
Cisco.
I mean, just echoing, yeah, the national convention leading up to the Springs, but maybe talking about why that is. Obviously, the student membership is a majority of our membership, and their big focus is how do we get the most members to national convention? And they can't do that without our support. So it's like, hey, do you have any fundraising ideas? Or hey, would you be open to connecting us to different company sponsors, this and that, speakers? We need them. Like, so it does get pretty crazy. I did not expect as much of that leading up to national convention. William, I know you were trying to prep me and prepare me, but man, it was a lot. But like at the end of the day, it was super rewarding. Once you're at national convention, I remember just walking the career fair floors, running into some of the chapter presidents, asking them, "Hey, so how's internship hunting looking?" And they're like, "Nope, I've already got my thing lined up. It's me hunting down my members to make sure they're lined up." So again, we play a big part of that. Each different region can help support their regions however they want. I know for us, for example, we had like stipends and things like that, so we had to get a little creative on how that looks when we go to distribute it out to the region. But super rewarding. It is a lot, but yeah, just gotta be able to write it down. Find your own system. Going back to systems.
I'll highlight really quick what you had just said of chatting with the chapter president on the showroom floor, career fair floor. That's how I see it. Of we're impacting through scale. We support the leaders, and then they go and support the individual members, and the impact of SHIP just grows. Yesenia, I saw you came off mute.
Yeah, no, I think just echoing what Cindy Francisco said. I mean, it is significant commitment, but one thing that I do have to say, it is manageable when you are intentional with your time and you also align with like the goals and the purpose that you have. That's something that takes time to learn. As when I started with a leadership position back in the day, I did not know that, but nowadays, every meeting that I have, I'm very, very like it has a purpose. I know when to schedule meetings, when not to, when I have to do an email. So like you learn with time, but I do think it's manageable as long as you define those two, time and purpose. You have to be very intentional and you have to know. It takes time to learn. That's all I have to say.
So on that thought there, of from when you started to where you are now, and identifying, hey, this is how I'm going to run a meeting, and this is what's important. Overall, do you think the role has helped you develop either at a personal level, professional level, spiritual level, any of those?
Yeah, 1000%. I think, I mean, yeah, no, I have always been very confident. I don't think, I was not, but I think this has given me way more confidence to be able to be more bold, to be able to be more assertive and very intentional. I lead meetings way different. I think SHIP does prepare you. I mean, I do have like a management position, the role that I have with Avid. So it's both, it's a combination. But I do think one of the biggest thing has been like my confidence. Like I think it grew. I am able to be in meetings with DBPs and see them as people. Before, I'll be honest, like 3 years ago, you would have asked me, I was, oh, they are the DVP or the director. But nowadays, I don't have that. I just, you know what I mean? I don't know how to explain. Hopefully, someone can understand what I'm trying to say. But I think it's just you grow and you become so confident that you're not faced by anything.
Yeah,
I
I'll
hear you.
100% agree with
Yeah,
that because it's like
thank you.
the
Yeah.
experience you have here, I feel like doubles kind of your work experience. So just because you've been working a set amount of time, but then you've taken leadership roles in SHEP, that like doubles your work experience. And I don't feel like people realize how much it translates into that because you're gonna strengthen your skills. Project management, time management, people management, all of those skills are so great to bring into your workplace. And I feel like that's it it really does translate into that. You're going to become a better leader both within SHEP but also outside of SHEP.
Just
I'm
one
also
more
gonna
thing. Oh,
go,
go
go, go,
ahead,
go.
William.
Just send you go.
Okay, just one more thing to add. It's you work with so many people, like diversity, right? You're working with so many people and you become to understand many more aspects. I think that gets you to work with like so many IPC sponsors and companies. And I think with that, you have so much more exposure to many things. Go ahead.
100% agree. I was just going to add to Selena's list of you also prioritize which activities you guys are going to invest in, and you're managing a budget, and you're trying to figure out ways to fundraise. So there's all these different aspects that you can definitely apply to professional versus nonprofit, and sometimes for me it blends into one. So just building off of that. Okay, and then I'm going to ask this one: is there one skill, like your favorite skill that you've seen change, that you would highlight for the audience here? I could start if you guys want, or Cindy, I saw you come off mute. You got it.
It was from the last question. You go first.
I think after doing the RVP role, and I'm supposed to be asking you guys this, but I was just going to give my example. Being able to pick where to strategically place funds has kind of advanced in my head of like, if I do $2,000 here, this is the impact I can see, and this is how many members we're going to impact, and that's worth this much in my scale, versus 2,000 over here, and I get to impact a smaller audience, and the impact isn't going to be as deep. So for me, it was that money allocation prioritization. I don't even know if that's a skill, but that's the one that I'm like, how do I take that to work, and then evaluate that versus time and funds that my company uses.
I think for me is people management. So as RVP, you do have a team that you lead, whether you have just the 4 Rs that are elected, or if you have more directors under you. I mean, you're all a team, but they all kind of look up to you for some kind of strategic vision, right? And so for me, what I do now, because I'm a digital project manager, and so I don't necessarily have direct reports, but I do depend on others, right, to kind of see the progression of the project that we're on. And so I think that's where the people management from skills that I acquired from SHEP come into play, because we're volunteers, right? As RVPs or any other kind of elected position in SHEP, we're volunteers. And so you have to find different ways to find sometimes you have to re-engage your team, right? After waves of, there's some are still students, so they have exams or, challenges that come up. They might go MIA. Professionals, we get, we go on vacation, we go on break, or we take a leave of absence for whatever reason. Things happen. You start to have kids. And so you have to figure out how to re-engage people back in, how to motivate them, how to engage them, and how to utilize their strengths and weaknesses. And I feel like that is what I am utilizing a lot in work right now.
Perfect. Anyone else?
Say for me, and this is completely interesting because it's like the opposite of what engineer does, but like the technical aspects, the project management aspects, all that, I'm good. Public speaking was so bad for me when I first joined SHEP leadership. And as you know, as a chapter leader, you have to speak publicly, both just with IPCs or just different at galas, things like that. And then at national convention, they asked me to speak in front of the national meeting, and that was like the biggest, made me so nervous. But I was able to do it, and that to me helped me grow so much in my public speaking skills. And that's invaluable to me because I never would have been able to do it if I didn't feel so supported with my Chef Familia. Like everyone there is rooting for you to succeed. And I just really appreciated that.
And then yelling at the national
Oh my
convention.
God. I was telling Cindy, I'm like, I don't have your voice. I don't have the chops to be yelling and screaming, but I did it. I don't know how I did it, but yeah, it happened. And
If
Region 5
Cindy
was the
gave you the
loudest.
thumbs up, you did a good job.
Yeah.
All right. So I've heard a lot of positive. I've heard a lot of personal gain. What has been your biggest challenge in the role? I mean, Cindy's been out for a little bit, and then three of you are still actively in it. So what's been the biggest challenge?
I can go real quick. So it's kind of crazy. When I was on the regional team back in 2020, it was all like a virtual role. I step into the professional chapter, and granted, still COVID times, we would all meet like in person, sorry, virtually would have virtual events. And then there was a time where we did have in-person events. However, fun fact, I was leading the Georgia professional chapter virtually as I moved to Chicago-ish land for about a year and a half. Probably shouldn't be telling you all that, but I did. And now we're back in the RVP role where it's a virtual role. So sometimes we'll get invites to, different events. A chapter will reach out and say, "Hey, can you come speak?" And by all means, I'd be more than happy to do it. But it's new to a lot of like the directors and other, R's that get elected to the role. So having to like adapt to a virtual meeting has been pretty difficult. And it's been like that for me for the better half of like the last 10 years. For me personally, I feel like I've found like different ways to like maneuver around that, make the meetings more engaging, or at least like coming up with nice virtual events for any time that we can't go in person. But I've also seen that it's been a bit of a struggle when you're reaching out to like presidents or vice presidents of different chapters and trying to make those meetings engaging for them. Like, how can I make sure that they can join these calls when we need to be able to pass over, like the good information for them to like be successful. So just coming up with creative ways to find or make those meetings a little bit more engaging. I'm a very big incentives guy, so like the chapters love having funding for their universities and their members. So like if you do this for me, I give you funds back in return. But just trying to come up with creative ways. That's probably been the biggest challenge, I'd say.
Am I getting paid for being here tonight?
Yes.
I
You didn't
accept.
hear that from me.
All right. Anyone else? What's your biggest challenge? Do I need to pick on somebody? All right.
I mean,
Yep.
I think
Selena
just
volunteered.
spreading the wealth, it's hard when you have so many people like asking for things and there's only so much budget. How do we make it stretch, or how do we utilize tools to help them do fundraising? But of course, when it's like right before national convention, like our resources are limited, so it's kind of hard to tell people no. But maybe it's just, how do we help in the future, or just kind of connect the dots in a different way? So I think that's been for me the hardest challenge.
Thank you. And then if we don't have any more volunteers, I have one more question. All right. What is one piece of advice that you would either give yourself or give someone who's running for an elected position in this upcoming election? Yesenia, I see you're off mute, so I'm going to pick on you first.
Yes. I love this question. I truly do. I'll tell you why. I was given this advice. So is do not wait until you're ready. You're never gonna be fully ready. Sometimes you think like, oh, I need to be ready for this position. What does ready mean, right? Like you're never gonna be fully ready. Remember this, like you have to lead with authenticity. Second thing, surround yourself with people, like with leaders who are gonna support you, who are gonna teach you, with mentors, and remember why you're joining SHIP. There is a reason. There is something, right, that happened within your undergrad or grad school that said, like SHIP is the place where I can find familia. Do it for that reason, and remember that your perspective, your lived experience, everything that you bring is gonna be an addition, and it's gonna be valuable to SHIP. So I would say, if you are thinking about it, just do it. Like you're already thinking about it, so run, and you will surprise yourself.
I'm inspired. I'm about to kick Cisco out. Cindy?
I would also like to chime in. Yesenia ate with that answer, like 100%. I stand with everything that she said. And also, I'd like to say, remember that you're not alone. Yes, that, as RVP, the rest of the team looks up to you for, advice and strategy, but you're not expected to know everything. And you're not alone in that you have 6 other RVPs that you can also reach out to for help, support, questions, advice. The national team is also really good about answering questions, being available, meeting with you one-on-one if you have a specific topic that you really want to delve into or have questions, concerns about. So you're not alone in this position. So you do get the support that you need if you ask for it. So
Thank you, Cindy. Anyone else? Piece of advice?
I was gonna say not too much to add there. Y'all hit it pretty hard. But maybe some general piece of advice I'll tell everybody. Always ask questions. It's okay not to know. That you're gonna go into this role not knowing everything. Like Yesenia was saying, you don't have to be ready, but asking those questions will definitely prepare you throughout the role. I clearly don't know everything. I'm a quarter of the way through my term, and I'm still asking questions. And the part two to that is just have fun. This is a volunteering opportunity for all of us to jump into. Yes, we all have our 9 to 5s. We're working. We have personal stuff going on. We have family, friends that we have to, squeeze into our schedules and personal lives. But like at the end of the day, like don't see this as like a second job. See it kind of how like you walked in that your freshman year of college, or for some of us in Ship Junior, getting involved pretty early on. But remember to have fun. Make sure to take a couple steps back and think about like what it is that you're trying to do and how you can make the most impact.
Yep, that's what I was gonna say. If you love meeting people, if you love making an impact, and if you love SHPE, like this is a perfect position for you.
I like it. All right, we have a few minutes left, so I got one fun question. I don't know that it's exactly a question. 1 to 2 words. How would you describe your experience in this role? Oof.
exciting.
Okay.
Exciting.
Exciting. Double exciting. Okay. Anybody else?
I used this word earlier, but rewarding. I mean, the things that you do in this position, you might not realize how much of an impact you make, but it's crazy. The amount of like texts that I get from like presidents saying, "Oh, like this happened," or "Thank you for sending this email. You have no idea like what you just did." It's been a very rewarding opportunity.
That's more than one or two
You gave me like
words.
14 sentences.
Rewarding, and then I backed it up. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's
Yeah, I
like
was gonna say
rewarding, comma,
fulfilling.
fulfilling, rewarding, exciting. Yesenia, do you have one?
I mean, I feel like I'm gonna give another synonym in there, but valuable. Yeah, valuable. That's the word.
I will add to this one and say servant leadership, and like a lot of what we do is you see the impact, and it might not directly benefit you, but you're going to hear even like down the road. I just had a student reach out to me and was like, "Hey, can we just chat for 15 minutes?" And he was like, "Hey, I just got my papers and I can finally get a job. Can you help me do my resume and all this stuff?" And then they had an interview, came back to me and were like, "If I wouldn't have talked to you, I don't think that interview would have gone well. I got the offer." And I was like, "This is a lot more than I expected to hear on my Wednesday morning." So thank you to you actually for giving me that. All right, one more fun one, and then I'll give us a quick closing. What is your favorite ship memory, whether it be in this role or just in general?
I don't think Selena gave her
Oh,
word.
I did fulfilling.
fulfilling.
You have to put it
Oh,
in.
just kidding.
I remember.
Missed it. I'll start with one. So I have two actually. So favorite chef memory. One was the very first convention that I went to was in Fort Worth in 2012, and I did my first year of what was it extreme engineering, and my team actually won first place, and then I actually won a couple of different raffles at like the career fair. I think I won also a scholarship that year. It was just the best first conference ever. And then the second one was right after my chapter president term at SHPE UH. And we won the largest chapter of the year award. That was back in like 2014. And that was just really cool because that was a really hard year. A lot of things happened, but long story short, I actually ran for a different position, ended up with the president position in my lap, like given to me, and I was not ready for it. And it was a very hard year for me personally. It was a very dark year, but with the help of my team and just everyone's support around me, we pushed through and we got awarded for that. And I think that's what I kind of relied on whenever things got tough. Like from then on, I just thought about that. I'm like, okay, we did it once before, we can do it again in anything we set out to be. So yeah, those are my two.
I love it. Selena?
I'll give one because I have like a million. But I think my favorite was this past national convention. We had all of the professionals. We had like a whole social calendar for us to meet up. And the amount of people being able to say like, hey, how have you, like they already know each other. When a few years ago, I remember the professional chapters were very disconnected just because we live so far away. But with the professional outings, we've been able to create relationships and create amazing friendships to the point where next year it's going to be a whole thing, for us as well, because, there is not a lot of official things for professionals. So we made it happen ourselves. And just being able to see the camaraderie warmed up my heart so much. So it's been one of my favorite memories.
If Nashville was one of these outings, I've heard about this like 27 times from different people. So kudos. I'm jealous. All right, Cisco.
The outings are amazing. I think I crashed a Region 5 outing once and nobody knew. No, just kidding. So I can't talk about my favorite ship memory because it's inappropriate. No, I'm just kidding. I'll take y'all back to the professionals. So like earlier in the call we were talking about virtual presidency during my run as professional president for Georgia Professional. We had maybe had 6 or 7 virtual events up until the point where like, all right, the world is spinning again. We can start having in-person events. And so I was just so nervous, me and the whole board. I think there was like 5 of us at the time. We were like, we don't know what this turnout is going to be, but like, yeah, we've had like 15 people, 10 people show up during these virtual calls, but we've got a little sponsor, they're paying for foods. Let's see what happens. And I think that really cemented my like drive to continue leading ship because I just didn't know what to expect. And we ended up having like I think it was 40 people show up for our first in-person event in like 5 years. And so after that, I was like, yo, we've got something here that's worth fighting for. So that was probably my favorite ship memory. After that, it's just been like go, go, go. After, well, actually thinking I was gonna be it. I was like, after this, I'm done. Nobody shows up, don't talk to me. I'm going and hibernating in Atlanta somewhere.
That's awesome. Yesenia, you have one?
I have so many. I was just thinking, I was like, which one should I say? Because I have personal ones and then I have like, as a leader one. So I'm gonna choose the leader one. I think Spring Forward, the last like event that we had to do for Spring Forward, I think we only had a month and a half, maybe less than a month to plan it. Around that time. But when you put your mind on something and you work together with the team, things can happen. We had more than 350 students. We had more than 14 companies. We were able to fundraise, I think around like $12,000 for that event. And it's just like so many things happen. And to me, that's just rewarding. And then seeing the students like drive 5 or 6 hours to be there at 8 o'clock in the morning, feel bad for them. But like, I don't know, I just feel like there's so many students that were so excited. And then at national convention, they told us about the event, right? They were like, oh, the workshop or the resume reviews, the mock interviews, it actually helped me. And I think that's rewarding when you make an impact, not just, yourself, but in so many students. And when they say, being part of SHIP has made them feel like they're part of a family, One student said that to me, I don't feel alone anymore. And that to me, I don't know, maybe because I have this more emotional side, I was just like, wow, that really warmed my heart.
I thought you were going to say, I started crying because that might have been what I would have done. But okay, understood. Very good.
I can hold it. I'm kidding. I do cry, but I try. I'm the worst at crying in front of people. I'll tell you that. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing.
Understood. All right. Thank you guys for sharing. I'm just going to wrap us up really quick. So one, if you made it this far, thank you for listening. I hope this was insightful and helpful into the lives and journeys and different impacts that RVPs and elected SHPE volunteers can make. If you have any questions on elections in general and you want to ask elections@ship.org, we'll get those answered to you. I'd love to say we'd answer them in 1 to 2 days, but let's give them 3 or 4. And then last thing, make sure to renew your SHPE membership by February 15th if you want to vote or if you want to run. So please go in and renew your memberships. If you never want to think about that again, you should go ahead and just become a lifetime member. I think we have at least 3 lifetime members on the call here. So, you know, that's 60%. You should become part of that. All right, guys. Good night. Thank you guys for coming.